All right, good morning, everybody. I really needed to share this experience with you because everything kind of comes together in hindsight. I'm going to tell you the story verbally, and then I'm going to go back and read through my documents. So, yesterday was a very different type of day for me. I had the best and the worst, and the best and the worst, and the best and the worst. And sometimes that happens at times. Now, I left the morning, well prepared, had everything prepared, and I normally bring a sweater with me because the place I am at during the evening sometimes it's a little chilly, and then catching the bus too, you have no real control over the temperature and that type of thing. And that's like the key thing, to always have a sweater with you. So I had my bag of goodies, had my sweater in it, rushing through. I missed the bus. I had to rush all the way down to the other end, made the best of it, and took care of some errands that I needed to do. Then was on my way. When I got on the bus, I realized, hey, I'm really cold. But then I was like, okay, I can wait it out. And then I started coughing, and I was like, I'm gonna catch a cold. So I needed to get my sweater. Went into my bag to get my sweater. It wasn't there, and I was like, I know I placed it in there because I put everything together, and because I know I put everything together. And so I went through my whole bag. I had a ginormous bag. Went through it, didn't see it. Went through it again, didn't see it. And then I was really a little upset because I was like, man, I really need that sweater. But luckily, during the evening, the place was warm, so I really didn't need it at night. And I was a little. I think I was upset at myself because I didn't do as good a job as keeping up with my things as I should. So when I got back, it was late. Not late as usual. It was about maybe quarter to. And my immediate thing was I was gonna come in and immediately go find my sweater, or at least look for it because I needed closure that hey, either it's gonna be found or it's not. And so, got my little flashlight, dropped my stuff off. As soon as I dropped my stuff off and came out, heard the dog barking. The young man comes out. The girl follows soon after. Now, a couple of days ago, well, last week, about exactly a week ago, last Thursday, there was an incident where um, I had something very harassing happen to me. I reported it, and nothing happened for a day or two. It calmed down. Then I noticed all of a sudden there were chairs like where I am. The they the owner doesn't turn the light on at night, which I'm kind of okay with that. It's a good and a bad thing. I'm okay with it at first. But anyways, long story short, so the chairs were moved into the cut where if you're from the street, standing on the street, you cannot see the chairs, and then the owner does not turn the light on, and I'm okay with that. And so you cannot see, what's going on. You can't see that there's somebody there. My concern was to be ambushed or whatever like that by this couple. Again, things have exacerbated where at first it was just a female, and I think the situation is that the woman doesn't hardly work, the guy doesn't work at all, and then they're having arguments about that. I can't help but to overhear. So in order to prove his, value to her, now it's like he's, jumping in. He jumped in at one time, and that was enough for me to make a report because I don't want any problems, period. So how it was taken, I don't know. But when I noticed that immediately, I let the owner know, hey, the chairs that are there, I noticed that they weren't there before. They're now in this cut where it's up against the wall. You can't see from the street. If you come out the door, it's in your blind sight. It's behind the door. So you can't really see what's going on back there, and you're just kind of going on your thing. And if you turn around and look, you may be inviting a confrontation, which I don't want to invite because I don't want anything to do with those people. So, long story short, so when I came back, I noticed that, and I went out to look for my things. And again, when I'm looking for something, my need to find out overdid the fact that okay, there may be fear here. And again, I was doing vlogs on fear versus anger management, or fear versus anger. Both of those are very unnecessary emotions. They don't get you anywhere. So again, I was on a mission to find my sweater. So I started looking, retracing all of my steps everywhere that I went, didn't find it, came back, and my goal when I was thinking on the way back was that okay, I need to stop in this store, that store, and go to the bus station and ask if they found it in Lost and Found. Most likely it's just a sweater is going to be gone. Because I'm thinking for sure if it was on, lost on property, nobody would have really bothered it. But when I came back, and I was thinking, well, let me check the garbage. But and then I was just thinking, okay, it's funny, I'm gonna check the garbage. And I was like, I hope the couple's out there, but even if they are not out there, but even if they are, I still need to check it because that's the closing. That's the top on the lid on the pan. I need to finish it. So nobody was there. I was glad. The garbage can was empty. So at the very bottom, I see two things. Luckily, I have a flashlight. If I didn't have my flashlight, I wouldn't have found it because it was a black sweater. I see a bowl of empty something or other noodles, and then I see what appears to be my sweater. But I'm like, let me take a closer look. So I tipped the garbage can over. And as I took the garbage can over, I get inside, and lo and behold, it is my sweater. I smell it. It smells like poop. And this sweater was so fresh and so clean when I left, you know. And so I'm thinking, and I should not have done this, but I assumed, and I've assumed in the past, and it was actually the owner, where the last person that was here, I assumed that, she had something to do with the owner treating me the way that he did. But no, it's completely him, and I need to come to realize that. Because then I came back, and I thought, okay, well, they came out at the same time. I thought, well, they must have threw it in the garbage because I don't. That's what I assumed. I mean, it's a possibility the owner could have, but I don't see why he would do that. Because that the sweater belongs to me. Who else does it belong to? They sit around in their clothes and hoodies all day. The girl has worn the same skirt for the last 2 weeks, and the older woman, she barely comes out. You know. So, and it's a huge sweater. It's big, even though it's thin. It's really big. So that's what I assumed, and I just let him know. If you ask the others that are here, if it's something that doesn't belong to them, not to touch it because I found my sweater in the garbage. It smelled like poop, And he was like, well, let me talk to you outside for a minute. Now, like I said, I have the spirit of a child. If you lead me somewhere, I will go. Now, unbeknownst to me, I guess there's someone else in the house. I didn't know that, but it didn't matter. But he says, well, let's talk outside. And I'm thinking, ooh, I'm getting respect because I never get respect. You know what I'm saying, in this house. So, and I'm going to talk about respect too in a minute. So, I'm like, okay, he's taking it outside. Let's see what, and then he's showing me, I guess he's just like, well, I found the sweater here. And he took me outside to show me. But then it ensued, and I was like, okay, well, that's not a problem. I said, in the future, and I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I sincerely thought that they had something to do with it. I should not have assumed that I made a mistake. And I was like, in the future, if you don't mind, if you find something, on property, if you could, just, it's probably mine because I'm rushing in and out. In the future, I'll make sure that I'll keep my things more secure when I leave. But if you could please, just place it in front of my door and I'll get it when I come back because it's probably not garbage. It's probably something that I made a mistake and dropped, And he's like, well, I don't know. He got really loud at that point. I don't know that it belongs to you. It was dirty. I threw it away. Yes, it was dirty because it was in the dirt. That was freshly washed, like on Monday. You know what I mean? It fell in the dirt because I was rushing. My cart may have rolled over it, but it belonged to me. You see me with my cart, you see me running out. There's not really all. He made two things for the cars to park on, but they all park in the driveway, I guess, because it's easier. But when I come out with my cart, it's kind of hard because I'm like on the dirt trying to, wibble wobble and stuff, and it fell out, I guess, and I didn't expect it to, but it did. And so, he just got right, and I was like, well, it was dirty. I threw it away, and I was just like, well, it was dirty because it was in the dirt. If you don't mind, just put it in front of my door. Well, I don't know. It belongs to you. It could belong to anybody. Now, my response to me, this is my immediate response, was that, okay, that's not a problem. Well, if you could put it in, because I'm just looking for a solution, if you could put it in a common area, and let it stay there for at least 24 hours, it'll get everybody a chance, if it belongs to them, to retrieve it, but if you put it in a garbage can, more than, I'm not expecting that, but now I do expect it because you taught me, but I don't have any chance to retrieve it. At least give me 24 hours, I left, it was there sometime between 1 and 10:30, before 10:30, 10:20, and probably earlier than that. That I'm gone, that I'm rushing out, that it's probably mine, but if you could just put it in a common area. He was like, well, why are you making such a big deal out of it? I said, no, I'm not making a big deal. I'm just letting you know that if you find something on property, it's probably mine. I dropped it. And and if there's a concern that it's not mine, if you just put it in a common area, then that gives a person an opportunity to get it. But in hindsight, looking back, if these people are here all day long, they have an opportunity to inquire if they lost something or misplaced something. And he has an opportunity to inquire if it belongs to them. But I don't have that opportunity because I'm actually out living my life and doing things. So I do not have that opportunity. And then he went on to mention, well, there was two things that were left in the yard, and I don't know who it belongs to. And it was like, and I was like, what two things are you talking about? and it was like a jump rope and some type of metal thing. But I'm thinking to myself, in hindsight, looking back, okay, well, how long ago did you find that in the yard? You didn't mention to anyone, and that's not in a garbage can. That's sitting in that little common area. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't make sense. And I didn't realize that somebody else was here until I came back in, and as I was coming, he was just like, and then I addressed the chair issue with him. Because then that was supposed to be the end of that. I found a resolution. That's it, and how he responded to it is how he responded to it. So about the chair issue, and I said thank you, so much for moving that one chair. However, this still is leaves a safety concern because it's still kind of in the cut. And then what happened was he was just like, well, this is my property. I can do whatever I want or something like that. And I was like, I understand it's your property, and I was just like, I'm just letting you know the safety concern. That's all I'm doing. But he made a bigger thing out of it. He kept going about, oh, you're making a big issue. So, and I was like, no, I'm not. I'm just letting you know. That's it. It is your property. You can do whatever you want. But it's my responsibility to myself to let you know that this is a concern that I have. So then I came back, and then he was just like, he got loud because he wanted the neighborhood to hear. But I matched his tone. He was loud and volatile and angry. And a lot of times people, like I said, are stupid. They hear anger in someone's voice or volatility in someone's voice, and they assume that that someone else is causing them an issue, or doing something wrong just because you hear anger and volatility in someone's voice. So I matched his tone but kept my pleasantness and professionalism, and I just said, I understand that, this is your property. Yes, I agree. You can do whatever you want, but it's my responsibility to myself to, let you know if there's a concern. And there was a man across the street doing a garden or something, and he was listening. you know and so what I've learned from this situation, each situation is a learning situation, and my time is coming to an end, is that, again, if somebody, again, keep your privacy private. If I like to be conducive to understanding and respect, but if you see that when you do certain things, like me, like somebody asking you to come outside, okay, that's me being conducive to that. But it's not to not wake anyone in the house or whatever, because all the doors and windows are open. You can hear everything. It's to take it outside. I think he genuinely did want to show me, visually that. But then also you have to keep into mind too that people are listening. So in the future, what I've learned from this is to try to keep your private. And normally I would ask him to pull him aside and ask him to go speak out somewhere where, in the back or whatever, but he will not do that. He will not allow us to have that privacy. He wants to make sure that someone in the house can hear, because again, I've asked him before, and and what he would do is he would, not concede to that, or he would stay in earshot of the others in the household. So what he has done, essentially, is trained me not to protect my privacy. So in the future, I will ask to pull him aside to speak to it, and that would be to him, where no one can hear. And I've done that before, but he will not concede to that. But I have to at least follow my procedures and make that request, because I've allowed myself to be trained not to even ask, but I need to ask because that's my responsibility to protect my privacy. And then, like I said, I didn't realize that I'm being quick about this towards the end because I only have like a minute and a half, literally. But when I came in, I didn't realize it. But, you know, um, I did the acknowledgement of whatever was said. And then when I came out, because I heard laughing and talking, so I didn't know if, like, what was going on. So I came out and I'm overhearing another person. And so actually they had a guest and I didn't realize it. And so it's just, just being aware. And then it comes to a point in time where, for me, everything works for the goodness of God, where God is moving me towards a different conclusion. And I definitely see that. Yesterday when I missed the bus, I had to walk through this neighborhood I wouldn't normally walk through. I saw a sign of a house for rent for $750 a month. So God has let me know there's other opportunities He's ready for me to, I don't know how quickly, but to move on. So we're in many ways. So we're going to do that. But anyways, God bless, just sharing and experience. And I'm sorry that is kind of all truncated. But, that's what happens when time limits are placed on your things, on your viewings or whatever. But anyways, I love you all. I hope you have a great day. Remember to manage your life responsibly. Keep procedures and follow those procedures for yourself. Don't, in essence, let someone train you to not follow your procedures properly for yourself, because again, they're training you to not take responsibility for, just like I said in this situation, my privacy, because of the negative reaction that I got. and my safety. So I'm sorry this is all kind of convoluted, but I gotta go. But I love y'all. Hope y'all got the message. Take care.